Prudential CEO Mike Wells has told CNBC that Apple and Google could enter the health industry, but would face even greater regulatory scrutiny than they do already. This comes after the British multinational life insurance company launched its own digital health app earlier this year. I spoke to Mike Wells as part of CNBC's East Tech West coverage on how the pandemic has affected the product's rollout.
There was a material shift in policy, in consumer behavior, in openness of doctors and medical providers to participate in the digital elements of health. And I think we were originally targeting illnesses when we launched in Malaysia November of last year with prevention of dengue fever. COVID wasn't yet on the scene, but the core infrastructure we built for it, I think, you've seen, we have almost 12 million downloads now of Pulse. It's accelerated by COVID. COVID's been an event that's increased, obviously health awareness and the demand for policy and tools that address it.
Well, I also asked Mike Wells if we've misunderstood the market dominance that companies like Apple and Google have.
They certainly have the platforms to do that. They don't have the licenses yet to do that. It's an interesting question if they want to get into, that sort of regulated space. And I think it varies by country of origin and each firm's view on if they want more or less regulatory fronts. We're used to working in a very heavily regulated environment, and for us, it's a natural extension, of our business models, and we work very close with policymakers, and it continues. I think a lot of smaller tech firms, regulation is not a skill set necessarily in the shop. I don't think that's true of an Apple or Google. They're very capable of dealing with regulation.
And Mike, obviously, you've got to be a little bit careful about what you say in terms of earnings at the moment. But we're very interested, I think, to understand whether, in the sense of COVID, you've now seen really the bottom for the COVID impact in a negative way on the business. What's your read now as we see countries better handle lockdowns and the prospect, hopefully, of a vaccine towards the end of the year?
Yeah, so we'll talk, on the full year results. But I think the trends to look at is we can now open faster when a market reopens up, and we can deal with the closed market, if you will, or a lockdown market, much more effectively. I'll give you an example. Singapore is effectively open domestically, still very limited to foreign travel. But 50% of our agency transactions now are agents, and again, an agent there is a university degree and are very professional, and it's one of our best teams. But 50% of their business is still coming in on the virtual technology, and they like it, and the consumers like it. Young consumers like it, older consumers like it, busy consumers like it versus an in-face meeting. So I don't think you're going to go back to, I'm not a big fan of the new normal phrasing, but I don't think you're going to go back to a pre-COVID business model in any sense. You are seeing different spikes in different markets, as you well reported, and we have to be open to that changing. I think the vaccine's important, but I think the improvements in treatment, improvement in individual behavior in most markets is having huge impact, and I think it's. The flexibility of the business models to address that is really one of the keys.
Mike Wells from Prudential.